Hey friends, welcome back to She's At It Again. My name is Tanya and I'm about to make a Greek cabbage salad. I made this the other day and I took my first bite and thought, yep, this will be a good video. People will appreciate this. If you're like me, I pretty much like salad with just about anything, but just your romaine and cheese and olives and onions and things like that, it can get kind of repetitious. So we're going to change that up. This is not lettuce, this is cabbage. So interestingly enough, it has a great flavor, and this is going to go well with some Greek pizza we're serving tomorrow for lunch. So let's go over here and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, I'm thinking this bowl must have been just what I had in mind when I bought this bowl, because I remember thinking, I need a clear bowl, because if people are watching me make something and I don't have an overhead camera for a boom to look down directly into it, but you can actually see what I'm making here. So this works out well. All right, we are going to start out with a teaspoon of salt. We're going to kind of make our dressing, then we're going to add our cabbage to it. Teaspoon of salt, and I just use pink Himalayan salt. Half a teaspoon of ground pepper, and I ground this not too long ago so I could refill my pepper grinder with telecherry peppers. I was excited to get those. Half a teaspoon of pepper. Three tablespoons of red wine vinegar. This is what I'm using. I like this little cup because I can see from the side as well as see from above how much I have in there. A little over a tablespoon of dried dill weed. Now, if you use fresh dill, use about 1/3 of a cup, 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup. I'm not as crazy about dill as some people are. I like it in some things, and this one, it's good, but it's easy to overpower it for me, but that's just for me. A teaspoon of dried oregano. I'm going to stir this around just to hydrate that dill weed and that oregano and dissolve the salt in there. All right, we're also going to add 1/3 cup of olive oil. You saw me pour this out of my big metal jug. This is the first time I've gotten to use my olive oil that came from the, I guess the olive farm that one of the people that we met in Greece, actually he was one of our tour guides in Greece last summer, and his family owns an olive, what do you call it? I don't know, an olive farm, I guess. And they were talking about how good it was, but we ordered it in those big giant cans, and I have 3 of those cans, and let me tell you what, somebody couldn't have driven up in my driveway with a big fancy car and me been any more excited than when I got those 3 cans of olive oil. I am pumped about that, and you can see how dark that olive oil is, and the smell is incredible. I won't call it a smell, I will call it a fragrance, because it is absolutely a fragrance. It's beautiful. And the fact that it's in that dark can, and I kept thinking, I need to put it in a bottle where I could pour it. And then I was like, you know what? If they think it's best in a can, I'm just going to leave it in that can. But I don't know how long I'm able to pour that big giant can. That's just kind of overwhelming. It's so big, but maybe I'll get used to it. Okay, next thing we're going to do is chop up some olives. And I have about 1/4 of a cup of black olives. You can use Kalamatas if you want to. These are just plain black olives. And I'm going to chop them up really finely. about like that. I'm going to add those to our bowl. We have about the same amount of just these big giant green olives. Do the same thing with them, just chop them up. Put these in our bowl as well. Okay, now we're going to get some green onions. Let me grab those. The recipe calls for let me look on here and see. The recipe calls for 6 green onions. I don't know how many this is. I just went out there and cut some. I grow these out in the yard, and I just grabbed a handful. And that's what I did the other day when I made it, so it's fine. If you like a lot, put a lot in there. If you don't like a lot, then don't put as much in there. I just find that green onions not only add that onion flavor that goes so well with so many things, but it also adds that bright green color, which I find just gives it more appeal. Just visually more appealing than, say, a white onion or even a red onion. All right, put that in our bowl. Retrieve the escapees. All right, next thing we're going to add is, let me look at my list here. Ah, yes, the feta. Okay, I had to find it in the refrigerator, and of course it was right in front of me. And this is the feta that I'm using. This is so very good. So very good. It could have to do with the fact that it's imported from Greece. And I've said this before, when we went to Greece last summer, they are so generous with the feta. If you go to a restaurant here and they give you a chunk of feta, you know, like this, you'd be like, oh, I'm paying extra for that. But at a Greek restaurant, they just start bringing it to you, kind of like in a Mexican restaurant bringing you chips and salsa. Oh my word, it is just divine. All right, this is about, let me see what the recipe calls for. I'm looking over here at it. It calls for a 1/2 cup. This is about a 1/2 cup. And you're just going to crumble it. So I'm just going to cut mine like this. And then it should crumble pretty easily. If you don't like feta, you can use a different type of cheese. But I'm telling you, this just adds that saltiness, that briny taste to it that is just so prevalent in so many Greek foods. It's just, I think that's what makes this salad. It really, really does. Okay, that was kind of crumbly. Give this a little stir. Now you want to make this ahead of time so that the cabbage can have time to absorb all these flavors in this marinade right here. That smells good enough to eat right now. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that beautiful? So pretty. All right, next thing I want to do is take some cabbage. I'm going to peel this outer leaf off, and my doggies will be excited about getting that later on. Now, I used part of this the other day. I just used this tiny part to make that salad just to try it. I had another head of cabbage than part of this one, but I would say just a small head of cabbage. This is just organic cabbage from our, big store in town. I'm going to take it, slice this however you want, but I like the little thin slivers of it. So if you have a mandolin and you want to slice it on a mandolin, that'd be great. But I'm just going to slice it as thinly as I can with this knife. I'm just going to keep slicing it. Let's see, which way do I want to go on this? I hear you down there, Zoe. I know. You know I'm cutting up some cabbage, don't you? That may very well be enough just for this. Get all the little crumbs that fly off the cutting board. All right, just take and toss this around as best you can. I'm going to cover this with one of those hotel shower caps. We keep a pretty good supply of those. You can actually get those at your big box store. Go over in the hair supplies with the, I don't even know what it's with. I know they're hanging up, but probably the African hair supplies. We'll just say it's in that section. I'm pretty sure that's where I got it. But you can get a package of, I don't know, a dozen for less than $1. But they're so handy to have when you're just covering a bowl like this. Not necessarily something that needs to be airtight, but something you just want covered in the refrigerator for one reason or another. Or even covered out on the countertop. A lot of times I'll put a shower cap, one of those disposable shower caps, over a bowl when I have bread rising, just because I don't want a bug to land in it, or dust, fuzz, whatever, to get in it as it's sitting out either in the sunroom or in a warm area in my kitchen. And those work great. All right, I've got a big blob of ingredients in the center of the bottom of it. I'm trying to get to come up to the top. Okay, y'all, this smells so good. I could take a big bite of it right now, but I'm going to wait until we have this with our lunch tomorrow. But this smells divine. And this is how much of the cabbage I have left over. So I'd say a small head of cabbage, and that works like a charm. that pretty? That's going to be so good. Okay, I'm glad I got to share this with you because it was so good the other day. My husband and I think, ate it in maybe a couple of days, and that was just 2 meals, like eating dinner together. So anyway, hope you have enjoyed this. Look up my recipe for Greek pizza. Serve it with that. This is going to be the perfect accompaniment for that pizza instead of just a regular salad. Of course, I do like my regular salad, but this is going to be something different and something new for everybody at our table. So recipe is in the description as always, and we look forward to sharing something again with you real soon. And if you try this, let me know. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. Okay, see you guys. Bye.